Okay, so look, you didn't miss anything, and I'm getting ready to tell you. What we did before I'm doing this final step right here, see all that I'm getting off? I don't want that on the piece. I know you can see the streaks kind of the Bondo squeegee. It's okay. You're not going to see that after the flood coat. So what I did first, when I had a little bit of resin left in my container, I took this guy, and this is what I did here to the end, just like that. Just to get all that to smooth down here on the raw wood and to get all that shut and closed. Then I came back and started in the middle so I can pull it, and I'm pulling it towards me, and right now I'm right here. This is just going to leave behind a film, a sheen, if you will, only. When I get to the end, I scrape that off and then come right back. I'm accumulating and getting off all this excess that I don't want sitting up there, because it's just to seal it, not to flood it right now. That's why I keep it at that angle, so it's going to continue to push it over here towards me. This is my last one, and this is going to send it off the side over there. And I'm just going to come through to get the excess that fell off only to this side. Just like that. Okay. Don't throw your stuff away yet. You never know. Never throw your stuff away. So we got a lot going on here. Okay, we got a nice wet look. You can see the line passes from the Bondo squeegee. You can see them. We know they're there. You won't see them when we do a thick flood coat. And you know, the flood coat is going to be about 1/8 of an inch. And we are literally going to pour it over the project. If we have to move any of it at all, it's just to get it to go over to a certain area to fill it. The whole purpose of a flood coat is to actually flood your project. The less moving when you're done. You're not bothering the resin, but the more if I have a bald spot over in that corner where Tom's at, and all this is covered, if I take this and push it over there, I just lessened my thickness. So that is the object of a flood coat. You're going to waste some here on the sides. Now you see why we had this set up like that, so everything can kind of drip and get caught. Flood coat's going to be even more intense. But that is it. That is it right now. We have got to let this dry for probably a couple of hours. There is a point that we are looking for, and that point is tacky, so that it can help the flood coat bond. If you miss that window, 2-hour window, if you miss it and it goes on and tacks up and there is no more tackiness to it, you can always wait till the next day and then pour over that. As long as you're within 24 hours of your seal coat, you won't have any bonding with the flood coat. You won't have any problems bonding. Hey, so this is what I want to tell y'all. We got busy yesterday. We had other things going on, and we missed our little window of tackiness. And remember what I was telling you. That's okay. It's no problem. We are only 12 hours or so into the seal coat. Okay, we are not over 24 hours later. So, I mean, there is no need to scuff this up. No need at all. It's dry. We're 12 hours into it, so we're going to go ahead and apply our flood coat now. Anything over 12 hours, or 24 hours, sorry, anything over 24 hours, and you would want to just lightly scuff the top here, clean your piece, and then, you know, the flood coat will bond to that. But anything up to 24 hours, we never worry about the flood coat bonding. Okay, and that is from the manufacturer where we get the resin. So other resins may be different. We're just talking about the resin we're using. So we're going to get on with the flood coat. We're going to tell you why the tape's on here. Check this out. Okay, so we are preparing now. We are done with the seal coat. Everything turned out fantastic. Again, this print, you can hear it. This print had a 3D type texture to it, so that is why we put the seal coat down. Plus, we knew the resin was not going to penetrate our individual 3 runs. We knew it wasn't going to go through. But what we didn't know is, as tight as we made the seams, in that little bitty line that is not perfectly shut, there is a seam there. No matter how well it was hidden, it's still a break in the print, and something can happen in that particular line. So if you got our first roll here that we rolled out this wide, nothing can happen in this. But where this ends and this one begins, we were not 100% sure what could come in that seam line with a flood coat. So if we were to flood this right out the gate, it may have worked, it may not have. We were afraid right in that seam line, if anything were to happen, bubbles, if anything like that were to happen, we did not want to waste all that money in a flood coat just to have the whole piece look perfect except for where the 2 seam lines were. Because nevertheless, as tight as we got them, there is still something can still happen in that line. So that's why we did the seal coat. We didn't necessarily need it overall, but we did not know the outcome of where the 2 seams were, if it was going to do as well as the actual each individual piece as a whole. So that's why we put that down. Along with doing that, we put a row of tape around this perimeter. Now this tape stuck really well here because we had slicked resin on these edges. And of course that tape is grabbing those edges and locking on super tight. So that's why we only put 1 row. A lot of times you might see us, particular projects, you might see us go around 2 to 3 times. Well, we might be taping over something totally different. Right now we were taping over a seal coat of resin. We have a lot of projects that we paint as a backdrop color, and the paint doesn't adhere to the tape nearly as strong as the resin does. So we'll do 2 and even 3 rows of tape around to create a stronger wall, a stronger bond. So when the resin does get poured in, it goes over and hits the tape. It's strong enough to take that hit and not just fall over and start letting my resin come out. So it just depends on the project, what we're doing and what's going on. But we do have the tape on here. We are going to be pouring out right at 2 gallons, and it's going to start self-leveling on its own. This is trapping everything so we can get the most out of our flood coat on the surface before we pull the tape away and let whatever's going to fall. So it's just going to give us better coverage on the flood coat instead of trying to pour the entire area, and as we're pouring we're losing so much off the side and everything like that. So like I said, every project we do is different than the next project. So for this project right here, we got 1 row of tape going around. We're going to get started on the flood coat here, and we're going to go ahead and get this flood coated, and we'll pull the tape off and kind of show you along the way.